Hey everyone, welcome again to my channel. Today I'm taking you with me through the magical gates of Elftopia 2023. But before we go there, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome to Quillscene. My name is Megan. If you like things that have to do with reading, with writing adventures, with magic, with geeky stuff, with all that sorts of things, then you're in the right place. Make sure to click on that magical subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell, because on that way you'll always get a notification whenever I upload something new. But yeah, I think it's high time that we take our wands and our fairy wings, because we are going to Elftopia. So yes, Elftopia. It's one of those bigger events that we've been doing with my writing group, the Writers Collective, for quite a while now, a few years, I think 4 or 5 editions that we've been part of it. It is always on the grounds of a castle, so it has a beautiful backdrop. And the vibe is a bit Ren Fair, but more fantasy-like. Because you have like an enchanted market, of course, where all the booths are, where also our booth was. But you also have a lot of cosplayers that are walking around, and with the cosplayers there are also a lot of professional photographers who, you know, wear badges and everything, so they are there to make pictures of the cosplayers. Of course, they talk to them, they ask, will you pose for a picture? Again, beautiful backdrops with, you know, the castle and the moat around the castle. On the back side of the castle you have a beautiful greenhouse, where also someone often tells stories to both young and old. You have, was that this year also? But you often have like a group of orcs cosplayers that guide the bridge, because you have like the castle area and then you have a little bridge to another area on the other side of the moat that also goes into a small lake. And there you have like a huge, yeah, it's actually an inflatable submarine, a yellow submarine. Where they do a silent disco every year. You also have what they call the pink ooze, which is also inflatable pink castle, and there you can actually get married if you want. So yeah, there is a lot of things to do, things to see, and as usual we had another booth at the Enchanted Market, part of it all with the Writers Collective. In 2023, the event itself was hosted on the 12th and the 13th of August, which is a Saturday and a Sunday. But we, because it's an outdoor event, so we had to set up our tents. We decided to already go on Friday, the 11th, with our group to set up our tents together, which was fun, but also a bit of chaos, because when we were there close to midday, something like that, because we tried to leave early, but not too early to, you know, skip the horrible traffic that usually is around Brussels and stuff like that. Because for us it's easily like an hour and a half drive. But when we then arrived at the castle, so you have like one, and it's quite a big entranceway into the castle, and that entranceway like goes way around the castle itself. But the problem is the owner of the castle doesn't like it when people go with their cars on the grass, which is understandable, because then of course the grass patches are destroyed, and then they have to sow new grass, which costs a lot of money. They always ask the people that, you know, are building up Elftopia, but also are there for the people the vendors who have their booths, to not go with their cars on the grass. Of course, that's easy for the people who have like a booth at the end at the edge of the road. But the thing is, so if this is the way, the entrance way, you have like this road, well, this side of the road, that can have a few booths, and then you have this side of the road that also can have a few booths, but then the big patch of grass that is at that side of the road, that is where the rest of the enchanted market is. So a lot of people have to drag their material from the road itself to their space way back on the grass, a few meters, like way back, because there are like, I think the first booths on the grass are like 30, 40, maybe 50 meters away from the road. So if you have to like then drag your tents and stuff like that to there, but still we have to do it. This year we were lucky enough to have a booth that was on that side of the road, so we basically just, you know, parked our car and could, you know, just place our stuff on the grass. The only problem is that a lot of people go to set up their booths and their materials on Friday, because the event itself, and I have to do this because my little paper fell. So the event itself is always, so on Saturday and Sunday, is from 10 till 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. But because it starts at 10, we have like a very, very, very small window to, you know, go set up our booths on Saturday morning. That's why a lot of people, especially the people that come from the Netherlands, decide to set up on Friday. Again, we were there like around midday or something, and the biggest problem is the entryway. It is quite large. You can easily get there with like a car, a truck, and I mean the big trucks, you know, that transport podium elements and stuff like that, no problem. The thing is that when you have a lot of cars and a lot of trucks that are there, elf people that have to work on the same space, they park at the side, which makes the road smaller, more narrow, and then you get the problem of people that want to drive out and people that want to drive in, and then the ones that drive out are blocked by the ones that want to drive in, and they can't put their car to the side because there are people parked. So yeah, that was a lot of chaos. At some point I was even concerned that they would like drive us and even our booth from the road, even though our booth wasn't on the road, it was like side, just beside the road. But yeah, we managed to put everything together without any accidents. Though I have to say that we were like a bit nervous to say, because we were, as I said, our booth was at the other side of the road from the bigger part of the enchanted market, causing that we had like in front of us, of course, the main entrance, which was good because, well, the main way, because that meant that all people that came through, like on the other side, through the gates, they had to get past us, so they all, you know, passed our booth instead, and not just, you know, went to the enchanted market. The thing, however, was that in front of you, you had a large open space, and behind us was grass field, and then the lake. So that was also a big open place. And if you are surrounded by open space around, yeah, that's not a good thing when there is much wind. So we tried our best to secure our tent with the herrings, I think you call them, the little, well, not little, because they are quite big and large and thick. It are like the iron rods that you put in the ground and then tie your tent to. So we were a bit, yeah, nervous / curious if on Saturday morning our tents would still be there, but luckily they were. So yeah, that was how we set up, and then on Saturday and Sunday the event started. As usual, I went with my books. My mom joined us with our Magical Treasures side business, which is our display potions. But also my colleague authors being Stewart, Mathias, Maho, Petra, Jelmer, Panman from Heroes on Paper, who is Petra's husband and also the person behind Heroes on Paper, as I said, Helden, Papier. He writes his own D&D adventures. And then also Dimitri Balkan. So we had a good filled booth. I have to say, was it on Saturday? Yes, on Saturday we had a little bit of a scare, because even though our tent was like really secure, on one point there was a gust of wind that really, if this was our tent did whee! But luckily landed back. So it wasn't, it went so up the air like 10 centimeters or something, and then landed again. Also because, you know, we grabbed it and pulled it back down as quickly as we could. But yeah, the problem was that the iron rods, the herrings, some of them were just pulled out of the ground, which was actually quite normal, because the days before it had rained a lot, causing that the grass was wet, so the ground was wet, meaning that it wasn't so secure. But still, we managed. What was extra fun for Mathias, it was his first debut with his, well, not his very first debut, because I think the week before he did an event with his publisher in the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken, where his the third part of his book series, Ruiters van de Nacht, Riders of the Night, appeared. And on Elftopia, it was the first event that he did as a single author, you know, well, with our writing group, that he had his new book with him. So yeah, that was very fun for him. There was a lot of cosplays, as I said, a lot of music. Also on the stage, it was like behind us, oblique, like behind us. There was also Disney karaoke on both days. Yeah, the singing was sometimes good, mostly not, but that was the fun part of it, of course. But the most memorable thing of all was on the very first day, so on Saturday, when the gates opened, we were standing behind our booth and we saw the first people passing by, a lot of them in beautiful cosplays. And suddenly we saw a man dressed as Shrek, with but Shrek with like the Ritter, the knight helmet. Again, I'm mixing Dutch with English. The knight helmet, the ridderhelm, on his head, and he had like a little gingerbread man on his shoulder. So when we saw that, I will insert a picture here because I took a I think Petra took a picture. So I will try to insert a picture here. When we saw that, of course, we started the famous quote, "Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man!" And that was the attendance for the entire weekend. It was even that bad that we repeated it so frequently that the visitors joined us in. So when we asked to no one in particular, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" someone who walked by would go, "The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man!" That. And the funny thing is also, well, to make the entire thing complete, when we arrived home on Saturday evening, so we still had Sunday to go, I suddenly saw that, again, for us it's like an hour and a half drive to go there and then also, of course, to come back home. So we were, from our group, were one of the last to arrive at their house. So Petra, who lives way closer to the event, had been home for 40 or 30 minutes already. And she had posted in our group chat I think Elftopia has picked up on the Muffin Man quote. And she had some link to the Instagram profile of Elftopia, who had made like a little promo film with the Shrek cosplayer in question, like taking a nap on a bench with the castle on the background. And then Elftopia 2023, come visit us. But in the description, it was, do you know the Muffin Man? So yeah, we kind of created the trend that weekend. So yes, as you probably now saw from the Vibe video, we had a lot of fun at Elftopia. We spotted a lot of fun cosplays. We met a lot of new readers and already readers that we already knew. The books and potions were very popular. I have to say we left back home on Sunday evening with a lot of empty boxes, so that's always a good sign. But yeah, as usual, it's summer. It's a fantasy market. What does a girl do? A girl goes shopping. So I picked up a few things, quite a few things that I watch, that I'm like looking at my loot, but still. A few, well, most of the vendors are vendors that I have known for a few years now. So I always, you know, go visit them and usually don't leave their booth without buying something. But for the first thing that I bought, I didn't have to go far because I already hinted it in the video. At our own booth of the Writers Collective, someone had a new book, and that someone was Matthias Maho. It is the third book in his dark fantasy series Ruiters van de Nacht, which would be translated to English, I think, Riders of the Night. It is a Dutch series. Maybe someday it will get translated in English, but for now it is only in Dutch available. And of course, the moment we had like set up our booth, even before the gates opened at 10 o'clock, I was standing in front of him with money to buy his third installment. This is the cover. The full title is Ruiters van de Nacht, Tocht naar de brandende velden. If I quickly translate that to Dutch, it is Riders of the Night, Journey to the Burning Fields, which also sound catchy actually. So yeah, it's the third installment of his dark fantasy books. I'm not going to talk about what happens in this book because then it can spoil for the previous parts. But the main idea is actually that he works a lot with animals in his stories, and in this series he works with humans and animals that form a soul bond, and from that connection they actually, both animal and human, they both have a special kind of magic. And his main character, Nick, one of his soulmate animals, I will call them, is called Esprit, which is Nick's horse. Funny thing is, Esprit is also in real life Matthias, his horse. And they have to actually protect, together with the friends they meet along the way, they have to protect the world from a dark, mysterious, fog-like thing that may or may not be the first sign of the apocalypse. In a nutshell, his story was always fun. Of course, when I buy a book from a fellow Flemish writer or Dutch writer, I can get it signed. So he did sign it for me too. And what's extra special about Matthias's books, Matthias doesn't only sign it, but he also has like made a stamp of the paw print of his border collie puppy Venga, who is also actually a character in his books, but sadly the real Venga died. I think they were only a few months old. So it's kind of like also in memory of Venga that he, yes, let Venga also sign. The book comes with a bookmark with on the back character art, and there is also a translation card in it because Matthias has yeah, made his own language also. So there are a few words that don't exist in our language. Well, in neither in Dutch nor in English. So it's always handy to have then a little card with the explanation on them. And that was not everything that you got with the book, because as an extra goodie, you also got a beautiful poster that kind of mimics, it's not the exact cover, but it mimics the cover. So you have like, in the shadows, the pirate ship, a lot of fire, of course, and then of course, the horses. So that was my first buy. And then I went to the full market. And one of the people that I have met, I've talked about her in previous vlogs too, is Josie from Ayame Designs. Josie is originally from South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. She has been living in Belgium for a few years now, and she makes beautiful fantasy jewelry. She works with like snake bones and stuff like that. So, but that is a bit, that's not my style, to be honest, but it are all ethically sourced, like snake bones and stuff like that. But she also makes a bit more, well, I find it hard to call it mainstream because it isn't mainstream, but she also makes, she makes fancy jewelry for everyone, basically. You can go as extra as you want with the styles that she offers. And I have by now an entire collection of earrings from her. I'm not wearing any at the moment, but when I visited her there on her booth at Elftopia, I decided to pick up another pair of earrings that I didn't have yet. And this time I went for the swords. The fun thing is that, as you can see, so you have like the charms, which are in this case the swords, and then you have like a little gems bead on top. And the thing is that you can ask her, you can choose your color. So I went now for white beads, but you can also do black beads, blue beads, pink beads, purple beads, any color you want. And then Josie will tell you, come back in 10 to 15 minutes. And they'll be ready, because she makes jewelry as she sits behind the booth. So yeah, I picked up these ones because I thought they were fun to wear on a daily basis, but also, you know, to add a little badass warrior vibes to any fantasy outfit too. Then I went to a booth from who the creators, I hadn't met them in real life yet because they are from the Netherlands, but I did follow them on Instagram for a while, and it's called 3D Mythic Makes, if I'm not mistaken. And as you probably already have known from the name, they 3D print all sorts of fantasy cute stuff. And what kind of fantasy cute stuff? Very cute turtles, but most importantly, very cute dragons. So when I when I saw that they were at Elftopia, I knew that I had to visit their booth, and I knew that the chances were very high that I would go home with one. And the thing is, they have like series of dragons and stuff that they do, because for example, with Halloween they did Halloween frogs and turtles and even dragons. For Valentine's Day they did the same. But now they also have like a mainstream series of dragons with flower theme. And now you have to know, roses are my favorite flowers. And when it comes to a dragon, in my own books, Muse Academy, there is a very popular side character called Yura. And Yura is a white dragon with ice blue eyes. And ice blue, like little hints in her scales and stuff like that. So when I walked by their booth, I saw this little cutie. And I was like, oh my gosh, they made Jura. Because it's like light bluish ice blue with white. It has a little rose on its head. Look how cute. And it goes like, yeah, it's very movable, which is very fun. You can, because of course as a writer, I have a lot of books as a writer and reader. So you can display it on books. You can display it flat in your bookshelf. You can, yeah, it's just so cutely made. I mean, look at it. Oh, I love this one so much. I'm so happy that I can now unbox it on this video because it has been laying on my, wrapped in bubble foil on my desk for a few months now. Since I've been filming this voiceover a few months after the event. But look how cute! And as I said, this is their card. They're called Mythic Makes. And when you buy a dragon or one of their frogs or so, I think too, you get also an adoption certificate. This one is in Dutch, but they also have English ones available. So that you can fill it in, give your dragon a name, also fill in the date that you adopted it, stuff like that. So yeah, this one went home with me. And surprisingly, my mom wasn't mad that I bought it. Because usually she rolls her eyes when I buy things like this. Which is funny because she loves dragons. And she actually owns more dragon statues and stuff like that than me. So, but she liked this one too. Then I, because we're not ready yet, I went to visit our friends from 4 Mini Geeks. 4 Mini Geeks is also one of the vendors that I've known for a few years now. The first time I met them, it was on Facts like a few years ago. Or no, the first time I met for Mini Geeks was at a summer market hosted somewhere close to the sea. The sea in Belgium, I mean, but yeah. It's actually a duo, husband and wife. Mostly the husband is behind 4 Mini Geeks because he draws beautifully. He also draws, fantasy-like things, a lot of dragons. He has a beautiful series of flower dragons. But he also draws fan art, a lot of Studio Ghibli. He also did Harley Quinn, I think he did, with like mechanic things. They also host every year for Christmas. He designs a Christmas card that you can then buy through their website, and the money they earn from that is for a good cause. So yeah, he makes beautiful things, and his wife, together with his wife, he sometimes also writes stories. Well, his wife writes the story and he makes the drawings with it. And they, a few of their books are published by Clavis. And I had seen that on their social media. They had announced that they would bring their latest book with them to Elftopia. And that was this one. It's a children's book, of course. It's called Heks Lexia and the Toverproef. Again, Dutch. Quick translation, Witch Lexia and the Magic Proof? Or, yeah, the Magic Trial, actually. Magic Trial is better translation. It's about a young witch who dreams about to become an animal witch. But yeah, she has to take, you know, exams and do trials and stuff like that. So that's what it's about. It's actually a children's story for children from the age of 4. But I have to admit, I often buy still children's books for the artwork. I mean, look how pretty. Look how It's a little dragon. So yeah, and because I got it at Elftopia, Chris also signed it, and I think Lisbeth did too. Yes, Lisbeth signed it too, but Chris also did a quick sketch of a dragon, which was very fun. And yeah, I love his style of drawing. It's so pretty for a children's book. I mean, these are things, if I had a child, drawings like this would be like in its room, in its bedroom, in their playroom, whatever. Yeah, I just love Chris's drawings. And they also had something new, because Lisbeth, she started doing bookbinding, and she did actually handmade notebooks that she did, with then as cover a drawing of Chris. So as a writer, I have a collection of notebooks. It's an addiction, I have to admit it, because I have like a trolley, like with 3 drawers, that the most people use to put their TBR or something on them. I fill it with notebooks. And yeah, I saw this one. I love it with like the Tree of Life. And then and the dragon. Yeah, I just love this drawing. And I was like, you're coming home with me. And Chris and Lisbeth were very happy that I bought one of the, that I wanted to buy one of these, because this was the first one she ever sold. So yeah, happy writer, happy vendors. And then the very last thing was, when I was walking around, actually Matthias pointed me her way. That was a girl who had like a very small booth in the like creator zone. And she had things, drawings that she made herself of Pokemon and other fun fandoms. And Matthias had gone to buy a few stickers, because he's also a big Pokemon nerd. And because it reminded me so much of the beginning days of the Writers Collective and how we started. And like back in the day, we started with a tent of 3 meters on 3 meters. Now we have 2 tents that make 6 meters on 3 meters. And even that is getting like very small for our group. Yeah, it reminded me so much of our beginning days that I also went to support her. And the thing is, when you talk about Pokemon, you talk about evolutions quickly enough. And I love all evolutions, though I have to say my favorites are Aspian, Umbreon, Aspian, and Flareon. With then also from the newer ones, Leafeon as a 4th one. But the thing is, I have 2 cats in real life, called Flash, who is like a fluffy ginger cat, and Boo, who is a black cat. And when I have to put an Eevee evolution on them, Flash is of course a Flareon. He even has like the poofy tail and everything. And Boo is the Umbreon. So I decided to buy stickers of Umbreon, which is Boo, and Flareon, or as we call him, Fletchion, because Flash is Flareon. But she also had buttons, and I thought they were also cute, so I also bought a Flareon button and an Umbreon button. And the girl's business was called Sakura. This was her little card. And of course she packaged everything in bags with little sakura flowers on it. And that was everything that I bought. I could have bought more, but you know, it was enough. It was enough. So yeah, with that, we've reached the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please leave a little thumbs up or a comment down below. I'm struggling again, tripping over my words. So thumbs up or a comment down below, or both, because those things help me more than you know. And hopefully I see you guys soon for another bookish, magical, probably on the go video. Bye!